Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the What Are We Doing Tuesday at 10 live podcast here at Pursuit of Purpose. I'm Rob.
I'm Chuck.
And today we've got a fun-filled and exciting episode planned for our audience. It's going to be a little different. We're going to take a break. We might talk a little bit about income tax, but that's not the directive of the show today. The directive of the show today, do you remember?
You remind me, because
Okay.
we talked about a lot of things this morning.
The directive of the show today is, how do you know? That's the question of the day. How do you know? So, and the theme of the show is about truth. How do you know? How do you know what you know? Where do you find it? And how do you decide what to believe? What is it about your source, whatever that source is, that makes it credible? We are creatures of consumption.
Yes, we would have to be.
And
You start with the basics, like Maslow. Start with your food and your water, and then you go up from there. And in this day and age, because of our technology and various other things, it seems to be information. We are big consumers of information.
Well, we're not just consumers of information. We are information junkies.
Yes.
With social media and the 24-hour news cycle and instant gratification everywhere for everything.
Yes.
We have become a species of, I want it now, I need it now, I got to have it now, I deserve it, I'm entitled to it right now.
Think about it, friends. Every industry that gets pushed in our face is because of our desire to consume. So used to it was toys and things. Then we started getting these consumptions of all everything we want in your diet. If you don't eat this, if you don't have this in your refrigerator, you won't be happy. Now it's even pharmaceuticals. I mean, how many of those commercials come on in between every little clip? And now, of course, information. And there's always been a course of that, but that is really ramping up with the technology age.
It really is, and it's fascinating. And in some ways, I believe it's degrading.
Yeah.
I really do, because we believe ourselves to be so entitled to information that we give up on the truth and we just want information.
Yes. Well, we start matching information with sensation.
Yeah,
That's what we're running into a problem. Thank you. Yeah, write that down.
Good old counselor Chuck there and his massive wealth of knowledge about our psyche. Say that again.
Information matched with sensation.
There you go. We want it to feel good. And so oftentimes, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on politically, so oftentimes we find ourselves looking for information to confirm our feelings or to enhance our feelings. And I believe that this is an enormous fallacy with our behavior.
Yeah.
That is something that is degrading to the truth. So my curiosity today is, where do you find truth? Where do you find your information, and how do you measure it? How do you know what's truth and what's not?
Yeah.
With everything as it is today, we've got AI. I mean, for all you know out there, we could be fake.
Yeah.
We're not. But AI has advanced so far.
I don't think AI could be this nerdy.
Or ugly.
Ugly.
Yeah. So with all these advancements that we've got in technology and everything and information, it's really hard to know where we're at. Where is reality and truth separated from fiction, AI, and it's so tempting to fall into that sensationalism.
Yes.
Because it feels good, it feels fun,
Right.
It's very attractive.
Right. And I get the dilemma, because most everything that we consume, I say it with a little bit of disclaimer, but it's probably closer to everything, does force us to be these decisive creatures. That's our job as human beings. We are to be decisive and judicious every single day. What we eat, even, getting up at a certain time so we can get there on time. All those things play in. And most of the time we do pretty well. But every now and then, we get handed this very disconcerting source of information, and now we have to basically filter through it. We can accept it as is, or we could have our own breakdown process, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about what yours is.
So I want to thank you guys for joining us on all different social media platforms where we are. Thank you guys on TikTok. I see quite a few of you coming and going from there. Thank you for being part of the show. I see Indiana James, Maze Bank. I see Tom Pavlovsky. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. We appreciate you guys. For all of you out there on Facebook, we're on a couple of different Facebook pages. We're on the Pursuit of Purpose Master Certified Life Coach page, and we're on Robert Martin, my personal page. We're on YouTube. The YouTube handle is @popculture11. That's @popculture11 on YouTube. So thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate our audience. And if you are joining us live on this show and you have a comment, please don't hesitate. We want to hear from you. If you'd like to join us live, especially on TikTok, we'd be glad to bring you on. See you, David, Sylvie, 405. Thank you for joining. JT, what's up? How's it going? Tanya, DC, all of you. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yes.
So some of the topics that we're faced with in today's media that are quite sensationalized, and I don't want you to be confused by what I'm about to say, okay? There's a lot of things that are true in the media, but it's hard to sift through what's true and what's sensational.
Yes.
Because the media's job is to get your attention and keep it, whether it be on social media, whether it be on TV shows, whatever it is. Their entire job is to keep your eyes glued to that screen,
right,
so that they can sell advertising dollars.
That's right. Yeah, when they sit down with the potential ad customers, so they're going to sell time to these companies. Now somebody from those media stations has to go in and present to say, here's what we do to draw them in. And then while they're in, we're going to show them your product. And then there goes your value.
So Raul Duke says, so capitalism is the issue. No, it's not what I'm saying at all. Actually, capitalism is our friend. And the cool thing about capitalism and the free market system is that you can change the channel. The issue is we as a society are not training ourselves to be critical thinkers. Yes. We're becoming followers of someone else's message.
Yes.
Instead of seekers. Critical thinkers are seekers. We seek the truth. We constantly find ourselves on a journey that's never ending, where we are picking up, testing, and putting down items of information to measure them against what we know to be our convictions, our character, our direction, our moral compass. All of these things are what help us differentiate fact from fiction and truth from falsehood.
I don't know why it doesn't like you right at this moment, Rob.
Right.
There, look, Robbie's back.
So let's see. Rudy the foodie says mainstream media's job is to be propaganda for Trump. Well, that's not mainstream media's job.
I wouldn't say mainstream.
Let's see. If you have a moral compass and you don't support ICE, correct? Well, no, that's not correct. I have a moral compass and I have my own choices and feelings about ICE, but that doesn't have to influence you. And whatever you see as truth and you believe in and you have convictions about, I have no criticism for you. And we're not here today to argue about ICE. Okay.
Right. That would be your moral compass.
But that is one of the issues that the media uses to capitalize on your feelings. It is one of the issues that's used to sensationalize the truth, parts of the truth, or none of the truth, to cause you to stay glued to whatever resource it is that you follow, that you listen to, that you watch, so they can advertise to you,
right,
to make money.
And I don't believe there's anybody that on the call today that is naive enough to not know what I'm about to say. You get sent these little clips, these program organized clips, probably through some.
He's talking about your algorithm.
Your algorithm.
He's just old and he doesn't know the words.
There it is.
He knows cycling go and everything really good, but
So you're sent things to keep you in a state of sensation. I get them all the time, only because I was curious and I read an article. Next thing you know, my reading, if you will. And so, please don't be naive that you're being sent things that they think you're interested in. And if it works, they're winning.
So pull them now 46 says, and these guys know the truth, ? Please. Well, I'm not claiming to know all the truth. I'm claiming to be in search of the truth.
Yes.
That's what I'm interested in. So let's see. We had another comment. I'm going to scroll back to it. And if any of you guys want to join the show, all you got to do is drop a comment and say so, and I'll bring you on. Let's see. Lyndall McKinney said totally true to one of the things we were talking about. Thank you. Rudy the Foodie. I just got that all together.
Yeah.
Said Jesus will say he never knew you. Well, how do you know that? I'm not, I mean, maybe he will, but I talk to him daily, talk to him all day.
Yes.
I hope he knows me.
Yes.
I pray and believe in him, and my entire faith and conviction is aligned with him.
Right.
I consider myself to be a Christian, but I don't judge you for your beliefs. Right. They're yours.
And similarly speaking, I believe he knows me a whole lot better than I know him, which is why I try to talk to him every day.
Facts.
All throughout the day. So, I don't have, ideally, that is my ideal source.
So Pull Them Now says, your truth, not mine. Okay. That's totally fine. I can appreciate that.
Yep.
So Indiana James says, you missed the part. What part? Not sure. So Lyndall says, thump, thump, thump. Not sure what that means. Major Bryant, 21, thanks for joining the show. So today I want to talk about something specific, and this is a big topic. It's all over the place, social media, mainstream media, and all other resources of media. It's something that people are talking about far and wide, all over the place.
Right.
Okay. It's a Jeffrey Epstein child sex trafficking fiasco.
Yes.
And it is a disgusting, enormous, who knows what's going to happen with it? Who knows the truth about it? It's a fiasco.
Right.
And I'm going to say this really clear, okay? I have been a supporter of Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I voted for him twice. I believe that he's doing the best job that he can with what he's got.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I were to learn that he is part of this fiasco, if I were to learn that he was a participant in child sex deviant behavior, I'd drop him like a hot potato. I would have zero interest in anything else from that moment forward.
Right.
I don't even believe that a child sex predator or a child sex person who involved in that kind of behavior, I don't believe they can be rehabilitated. I don't believe they have a place in the society. I actually believe that there should be the death penalty for that behavior, for that crime.
Absolutely.
I am personally a child advocate. I am a person who has spent much of my life working with children, for children, adoption, working with kids in all different sorts of unfortunate circumstances like juvenile detention and all kinds of things. Yeah. So I don't play games when it comes to that.
That's right. And we still do. And Rob and I share a lot of those same things from our past as far as working and trying to support children, especially children who kind of maybe are born into a bit of a raw deal, to try to give them some fulfillment, help them learn, help them grow, help them find their way in the world in a healthy way. And we still do that to this day.
Right.
And we're very thankful for the friendships that we've made to people who truly have a compassion for that part of our population. And we know a lot of families, and some have natural and some extend their family, like Rob and his family have, to children who didn't have that original nucleus. And it's a beautiful thing.
So we got a couple of questions here. The Big Bad Chief 500 says, are you in the KKK? No, neither of us are in the KKK. First of all, we're not Democrats. I think you'd almost have to be a Democrat to be in the KKK. But
do your homework.
Second of all, I'm a Christian. I stated that a second ago, and I don't believe a person who is a true Christian could participate in something as hate-filled as a group like the KKK.
Right. That's right.
So back to where we were up here. Barry Lane asked, do you think he's truly innocent? Innocent of what? I have no idea, honestly. I want to know the truth. That's all I'm interested in, is the truth. I'm not interested in speculation. Right. I'm not interested in innuendo. Right. I'm interested in truth and evidence to support that truth. Right. Now, if we find out that he is guilty of participation in that stuff, yeah, I don't want anything to do with it.
And that will be our truth.
That if we find out that is true,
right,
then we'll deal with it.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. If it is the truth, I'm okay with dealing with it harshly.
Right.
Very harshly.
Understand the first word in our title is pursuit, and we are always pursuing the truth. And sometimes that takes time and definitely takes extraordinary amounts of energy. We have to read, we have to listen, we have to vet a lot of the information that we get, and a lot of times we come up with good conclusions, and so we will know. By and by, we will know.
My encouragement, and I believe Chuck feels the same way, but my encouragement to our audience and to everyone out there all over the world is do your research. Don't trust any one particular source. Anyone. Don't trust with your heart, with your convictions. Work it out for yourself. Nobody should have that high of an influence over you that you just buy hook, line, and sinker everything they say,
right,
as the truth,
right.
And let's see. I lost it. Hold on, it goes back quick. Tuck NKY67 Gen X says the truth is never coming out. Too many rich people protecting each other, and that is the possibility. Sure. We don't know.
Sure.
And that's horribly unfortunate.
It is
horribly unfortunate.
And if you think about it, a lot of us spend a lot of our treasure protecting ourselves. Now, not from nefarious behaviors. We know we lock our property and those sorts of things. And I put my own treasure, the treasure I earn every day that I work, into those sorts of things. And so I guess if folks, have graduated to some nefarious behavior, well, yeah, they're going to pour their resources into it.
Yeah.
We have to have I believe as Americans and citizens of the world as well, but definitely as Americans, believe that we have a system that at some point will basically prove itself out.
So for those of you who are just joining us, we have a person who's joined us. Peaches 1053 says, what are you talking about? What we're talking about is, how do we know? How do we know our truths? How do we learn what's news and what's newsworthy? How do we learn what is true? How do we understand the things that we know to be trustworthy? So that's what we're talking about, Peaches. I hope that explains what you were saying. Something that's valuable, I'm going to say this. Tuck NKY67 Gen X says, the society failed to protect the children. I'm actually going to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And as such, what we've done is we the people have bought hook, line, and sinker too many messages through all these multiple sources of media, and they have distracted us from our responsibility. Yes. We, the people, are responsible to hold accountable those who serve us in government. We, the people, are responsible to hold accountable those who feed us information. And if we don't live up to that accountability, if we don't hold responsible those in positions of service, power, then it's our fault.
Yeah.
So I agree with you wholeheartedly that we failed. We failed. And as such, we allowed this deviant behavior to exist,
right,
more or less hidden from us. But like you said, we failed. And we have the ability and the right to rectify it.
Yes. And I want to segue off of that. I'm glad that you used the language you used. We failed those children. If we take responsibility for the failing system or progress of that system that resulted in children getting hurt, that gives us kind of this psychological ability to do something about it.
That's right.
And now we're motivated because I don't want to fail again. And it may take a collective, and that's okay. I mean, we're all members of a society. We're citizens here. So yeah, let's work as a collective, or let's do something about it. And if part of that may be consequential, like punishment, but it definitely is going to be productive.
So Classy has joined us again. Classy 476. I think it's Gina. I think that's what you told us to call you. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. And then we've got Darlene Clapkeef says, we all failed and it cannot happen again. That is correct.
Yep, agreed.
I can't agree with you any more than that.
Right.
And that's kind of what this show is about today. This episode is directed at us, at me, at Chuck. It's all his fault. No, but at us, at we the people. We've got to be more responsible with our ideas, with our votes. We've got to be more responsible with those we entrust and empower to serve us in positions of representation.
Yes.
Right now, our system, there's no question about it, it has many broken parts, but it's salvageable.
Yes.
And if we, the people, decide that it is worthy to be salvaged and that we are willing to put forth the effort, spend the time, and sacrifice our comfort, we can do it
Right.
together.
Right.
So it's worth it.
Right.
And that's part of this.
And we have
direction.
and we have a whole host of treasure. I mean, yes, we have money, but our time, our energy, and I think as mature people, we can rightfully divide that. My family gets so much, my occupation gets so much, but then also, my influence gets a portion of energy, and that's part of the treasure that I spend. So we are employing you as part of our audience and our friendship here to be responsible for that too, just like you would other parts of your life.
So I want to explain something that why we feel that this topic is so important right now, because right now we are preparing to go to a vote. Mm-hmm. We are in the midterm season, and believe it or not, the balance of power is actually shifted, maintained, or changed completely in the midterms. Mm-hmm. And so many times we lose sight of the value of midterm and local elections. Mm-hmm. The big bad chief 500s pointing at us, calling us devils.
Oh, okay.
So, okay.
I think that's just the icon that keeps popping up on top of Rob's head.
Is that what that maybe? Classy says, yes, I want to know why part of Texas only got 16% to vote. Yeah, that's disturbing. Darlene Klapkeef says, it is fixable. However, all Americans must unite and will take several years. It will take momentum. Yes. You're dead on with that. Yes. Very good, Darlene. That's a very good way to think. And it'll require us to talk amongst ourselves and be open, not just on social media, behind a phone or a keyboard. You guys may follow me on Facebook. I post a lot of stuff, okay? There's no question about it. But I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you in person and have discourse, civil discourse, where we can actually hear each other and value each other and work out ways forward to grow this country back to where it came from. And notice I said grow it back to where it came from. Yeah. I don't want to go. I want to grow.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Lil Smitty said it's not united as long as Trump is president. And then Classy 476 says, I'll share the state, but they got to be red. Let's see. VTech Storm says, please make a Discord server. I think I have one. I haven't figured out how to put it on my live stream platform yet. Let's see. Trump is not dividing the people. That's what Kevin Mystic 27 says. So guys, thank you guys for so much for joining us. It's hard to keep up with the comments. They do go fast. Make microphones too expensive again. So the really cool thing about it is if you're coming to us on TikTok Live or on YouTube or wherever you may be finding us, if you don't like it, you don't want to participate, those thumbs work really good. You can just keep scrolling. Yeah. But we do appreciate you staying, even if you do happen to be opposed to our views or our positions. So the question is, where do you get your news? Do any of you out there have a resource that you trust, that you believe is fair, balanced, honest, forthright? Mm-hmm. The Big Chief 500. I don't know why you're spouting that, but okay. VTech Storm says, guys, stop hating on these two. Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Thank you.
Jack Marston, bald Santa Claus looking. Yeah.
Cheers.
If nothing else, we have no problem making fun of ourselves. What y'all don't see off camera is that's pretty much how we spend our time. Hey, calling each other names and picking at each other.
That's right.
Let's see. True Social. I only listen to my president and you guys. Oh, thank you, Classy. That's so sweet.
Thank you.
And see, user 68 says, what purpose are you in pursuit of? Thank you for asking that. That's a great question. The pursuit of my purpose is to help people learn how to think. Mm-hmm. Overall, that's the purpose. Not what to think, just how.
Right.
The mechanics of critical thinking are something that is lost on so many of us. And the secondary part of that purpose is to teach us how to become leaders. Leaders. My biggest drive in life is leadership training, leadership growth, leadership implementation.
Right.
And you can become a leader of none until you become a leader of one. And that first one has to be yourself. And in order to lead yourself, you have to learn to follow yourself. So that is the purpose that I pursue.
Yes, and more than similar, absolutely. And when a lot of times folks come in for some type of counsel or consultation, they are in a bit of a deficit, and our job is not to tell them how to work out of the deficit. Our job is to help them find it. And once they identify a pursuit and then start identifying identify a purpose and how to pursue it, I mean, they grow. And then that energy radiates to everybody that they care about.
So user 68, thank you for that question.
Yes.
Even if you meant it in a negative way, I really appreciate it. That was a great question. Let's see. Scott.
Bald Santa Claus, don't get unhappy.
Scott A. Tusek. Bill Gates donated another $2 billion to ex-wife Melinda's foundation's new record show. Okay. Let's see. Classy says he's talking about the one thing, and you want to know about Iran. Go watch TV. Thank you, Classy. If you're going to troll, at least be funny. Thank you, Indiana James.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to one of the other viewers that's leaving some disparaging comments.
Okay.
Dave 64 says corporations in politics. Nothing will change unless the money is out of politics. So now, I'll go with you a little bit on this. It does take money. Unfortunately, it does take money to run a political campaign. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, you're not off on your assessment, because it does seem like high-powered corporations buy too much political influence, mm-hmm. and that is wrong. But because we, the people, are at a loss.
Yeah.
The focus of what's right for us and what's good for us is lost when big companies take over the political influence, mm-hmm. and all they care about is what's good for them.
Yeah, profit.
And that's not always, actually, it's very seldom aligned with what's right and good for us, for we the people.
Right.
And one of our directives here on this show and on other things that we're working on, mm-hmm. One of my personal campaigns, I really believe we need to abolish the Internal Revenue Service and the federal income tax. We've done several shows about it. We will continue to do shows about it. Mm-hmm. And subsequently, the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Currently, we operate on a fiat currency system that is basically an imaginary note.
Right.
The value is just simply made up arbitrarily on the spur of the moment by whoever's sitting in the chair of the Fed, or that company. And it's a company. It's not a representation of we the people.
Right.
And I personally believe that's unconscionable. So let's see. BGH says, are you suggesting the files aren't real? If not, what are they? No, I'm not suggesting that. Taj Travel says, that much money in politics shows no productive means. That's very true.
If you think about this, friends, as we're referencing the influence of corporate America, but we are actually our own individual corporations. If you have a Social Security number and you file a return, you are a company,
and that's unconstitutional.
And that's the way the IRS looks at you. So that has now put us in a very similar mindset. I don't know how many of you think like a private business owner like we are, but I have to think in terms of things I can write off and whatever, with equipment and other things like travel. I don't want to think about those things. And that's the reason we're looking to, one of the reasons, to abolish the IRS and go with a much more simpler plan. And maybe it will also affect the corruption of corporate America.
So BGH, thank you for joining us, by the way, BGH. But BGH says, isn't the premise of this show, of this live, the validity of the files? Actually, no. The premise of the show is the validity of news.
Yes.
The validity of the truth in news. And the question is, how do you know? How do you know what's true? How do you know what you're consuming is accurate and truthful?
Right.
And how do you find evidence to support what you believe to be true?
Yes.
What's your source?
Yeah, for the sake of our audience, that question's out there. We would like to know. We would like for you to share with us, and we'll read it here on the platform. How do you know? What is your source of qualifying the truth?
So we got one here. Let's see. Classy says, no, I don't know if I agree with the IRS abolishing. I'm iffy on it. And I don't blame you for that. I mean, it's what almost all of us it's all we've ever known is a system with the Internal Revenue Service involved. But it's not how our nation was designed.
Right.
The 16th Amendment is what the Internal Revenue, what Congress used to form the Internal Revenue Service, and it wasn't ratified until 1913, and it doesn't align with the founding principles of our nation.
Right.
It is a punishment on growth, and
unfortunately, it's become a heavy-handed cash collector from our hard work. And now we know to obviously support things that most of us do not even agree with. And so one thing progressively led to the next. So what if we reform the source of collection and turned it into like a national sales tax, which we're all going to consume anyway? I will buy food. I will buy vehicles. So will you.
So Taj Travel suggests a straight flat tax, income tax, with no deductions. I disagree with that. I disagree with it on principle that you're still taxing growth, which I believe to be abhorrent.
Yes.
Individual growth, that is. I do believe that it's okay to tax corporate profit.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. But I do not believe that it's okay for the American federal government to fleece the individual American's income. That is unconscionable. And in my belief, taxes should be collected through sales, through tariff, through excise tax, through foreign trade. That would more than fund all federal needs.
Right.
And it's proven right now. Look at the amount of fraud and waste that we're uncovering. And imagine if the government was smaller. Imagine if there was true transparency and accountability for every dollar that was brought in. Imagine if it wasn't stolen from you, how much less risk there would be.
Right.
Right now, they have what they think, or it seems like they believe to be an eternal resource. Every one of us will continue to earn money because we need to survive, right? So they have the ability to constantly fleece a never-ending supply of American citizens because we've got to make money.
You know, most everybody on our call today is probably very mindful of their own personal health. Think of it like that. So you know that there are limits as to what you can put in your body and still maintain a level of health. Some of you probably push it a little bit further and actually, pursue better health. So if the mindset was, I can eat whatever I want, I can consume whatever I want in my body, and I'm never going to have another health problem ever. I can do whatever I want, and my body will be perfect the next day. It's kind of the same thing with our money.
Yes. So Darlene Clapp-Keefe has a good point. She says term limits are a must. Agree with you on that. No more retiring in Congress or Senate. I believe a 3-term limit would be good. I will say this, after learning and researching and everything, it's really hard to get anything done in a first term. The second term is where you really start to, our congressmen and senators and things, they start to really come into their own. They gain maturity and experience. And then in the third term, they actually can see their accomplishments come to fruition. Yeah. So I believe 3 terms is appropriate. I believe after that, I don't believe that it's okay under any circumstances for a person to enter public office serving the people of the United States of America and go from having a net worth of $250,000 to $6 million
or more. So think about this. To my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, audience, but when a president takes office, every dollar he earns during that time is put into a blind account. So he doesn't have influence as to what he's going. He is there to simply administer, being the administrator, if you will, of our country and all of its responsibilities. So what if every elected member of Congress had the exact same confinements to operate in? They don't know, their paycheck goes into an account, and maybe we cover a few expenses, and that's it for that term. For those 3 terms, that's all you get. Now, when you're done, it will have been put into an interest-bearing account. You'll get it back and then go have a happy life. But instead, we all know that that's not what's happening.
So the Big Chief 500 has been, full of really classy comments and questions. And he says, I bet you guys hate it that it's Black History Month. What I find fascinating is I've been noticing your comments, and you seem to be really focused on race.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that maybe you're a racist. I don't know you. I've never met you, but all your comments seem to be like very focused, race-oriented comments. Yeah. Maybe you're just rage baiting. I don't know. I don't have a problem with Black History Month.
Nope.
I'm actually a very ethnically or racially mixed person, and I have a family that is completely mixed. I've got kids that are part Black. I've got kids from Guatemala. I've got kids that are all different racial contributions. So there's nothing racial or racist about me. So bless you anyway there.
Maybe I can put it to you in a way that will help you out, Big Chief. My God doesn't judge genetics. He creates them.
I hate that that's all you see, though.
Right.
I hope that I pray for you. I hope that one day your eyes are open and you can see beyond race. It's worth it, I promise.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Yep, there he goes. He's doing it again.
Okay. The only industry that should ever be worried about race may be the medical industry, because there are certain medical conditions that are a little bit more prolific in certain continental histories, racial histories. Maybe they came from the African continent or Europe, and they have to know those things. Those are actually genetic things that are in their system, and they have to stay on top of. For example, sickle cell. Sickle cell only works its way through the African American population, unfortunately. And I hate that, because I have known people who have acquired it and have died from it, and they were friends, and they did nothing to cause that to happen. It was in their system at birth. And so let's be a little more mature about that, please.
Right. So let's see. Leah says 46,000 to 30 million in 4 years, and that's not okay. I don't know exactly which one you're referencing, but that's not Pelosi. But my goodness, if you look at Pelosi's net worth growth, it's embarrassing.
Yes.
That's not okay. That's definitely not okay.
Right.
Schumer's the same way. AOC is the same way. If you look at all of these, the growth of their net worth that's not logical. It's not normal.
Right.
Let's see. Aaron Disc Golf says, talk about how DEI works. Well, I don't participate in DEI.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how it works. I do know what it means, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I do understand the principles behind it. What would you like to know? And let's see, Indiana James says, wow, we went from race to age-based. Yeah, and see, Indiana, when people who don't have anything of substance to talk about engage, and then they lose control of whatever argument they thought they were going to have, and they don't get the results they wanted, they just go to insults. And it's an unfortunate thing.
One thing I know about insults, thank you for your comment on that, is that it has to come from a source. It has to come from the inside out. That's why I can tell you I've worked very hard to keep hate out of my expressions. The reason is because I've worked very hard not to hate myself. I owe that to my creator, to not hate myself. He made me better than that, and therefore he made them lovable.
So let's see. Should church and state be separate? Well, that's a great question. It's a fascinating question. It's hard to say, because it's not separate. And even though we say it's separate, like we don't want church in school, and we want all these different things, it's almost impossible to separate the two.
Yes.
And the reason is that our state, the United States of America, the state of the US of A, was actually built on biblical principles.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to separate the principles that were inculcated in the entire fabric of this nation, and then say you're going to separate church and state. And then at the same time, churches have to follow governmental orders and rules and laws. So it's very difficult to have actual separation of church and state.
So there are portions where, yes, church and state should be separate. For example, the state should not be dictating to a church how they are going to work their faith as a collective congregation. That's a fact. However, most churches do have physical property. They have commerce. They have contribution. They pay salaries. So yes, now there are certain laws. If they're going to have a physical plant in a community, they have to abide by. For example, the ADA. You have to have accessible bathrooms and things like this. So it can't be 100% yes and 100% no. But when it comes to a collective agreement of how they will practice their faith, as long as that faith does not abuse.
So there was a comment, I mean, not a great comment, but it was a comment that I've seen said a lot on social media. So I wanted to bring it up. Here we go. Johnny Junk Finder, thanks for joining the show. Johnny says it's just a statement. It's not a question. So it's meant to be a provocative thing. That's what statements usually are on things like this. Mm-hmm. But he says, Trump is making so much money off of us. So the question I have to you, Johnny Junk Finder, is first, how do you know? That's what this show is about. Mm-hmm. How do you know? What evidence do you have to support that? See, Trump was a billionaire before he got into office. Mm-hmm. That's what he did. I mean, he wrote books, he had businesses, he's in real estate, mm-hmm. He's known all over the world. That's what he was known for, is being a businessman, mm-hmm. being successful, whatever. So the question I have for you is, you made a statement, Trump is making so much money off of us. The question is, how do you know? And where are you getting it?
Yes.
Please provide evidence.
Yes. But I tell you what, I will say this. Could it be possible that because he is in the most popular occupied position in the entire world, could that be helping some of the financial interest that he had prior to taking office? Sure. Maybe there are people staying in his hotels and resorts now because they now know who he is. Possibly. But I can also tell you this, nearly every president we've had in the modern era has cashed in and capitalized on that same popular occupied position they've held and gone out and made a fortune for themselves after they left office. Every one of them. And it doesn't matter what letter they have at the end of their name. They've all done it. And why not? I mean, they've gone through all this. Now they're very popular people. Write books, go speak, cash in. As a capitalist, I don't have a problem with that at all.
So let's see. Johnny Junk Finder says, okay, Bitcoin. Well, anyone made money if they wanted to on Bitcoin. I don't really understand that angle. Let's see. It's hard to keep up. There's a lot of comments flying through here. So I'd be glad to answer any question you have, anything you want to know. Let's see. Aaron Disc Golf says, how much has he made on his personal crypto coin? I don't know, because I didn't buy any. Yeah. So, I mean, if you wanted to invent your own crypto, you could. Yeah. And if it worked, great. You'd make, however much off of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't fault anybody for doing that. Yeah. So that's part of the system that we all participate in. That's part of capitalism. In fact, that's part of the system that allows us to do this show right here. Yeah. So I don't know how that's a predatory practice financially. I don't know how that is a way to criticize him necessarily. Maybe you could help me understand. I don't have a problem learning. Right. Just teach me. Let's see. I can't believe you guys call yourselves Christians. That's Space Madness 9000. Well, that's okay. You don't have to believe it. I believe he made $3 billion on his coin. Well, okay. Scotty Mopati says it's unethical. Scotty Mopati says the rug pull. Johnny Junk Finder says, okay, you are absolutely right. I don't know who he's talking to. Maybe y'all are talking to each other, so it's hard to keep up because the comments go so fast. Let's see. The Big Chief. Oh, okay. Classy's asking the Big Chief for proof. So anyway, you guys are great. Y'all are participating a lot, and I really appreciate it. Capitalism is anti-Christian. Actually, it's not. I don't know what Bible you've been reading, right? But Jesus himself, when he was crucified and they stripped clothes off of him, his garments were so valuable they gambled over them. They were woven without seam. And in order to have those, that means he actually put a value on having money.
And countless times, especially even in the New Testament, you can go to the Old Testament if you want to, people did commerce, they did trade, they sold property, they sold fields, and they took the money that they made from that and donated it to what we would call the church. So thank you, capitalism. That provided the revenue to support these people who went and were taking the gospel that they wanted to spread all over the world. And some of them, were given a portion of treasure to go with them. We'll call it per diem. And some of them refused it, and they went and made their own money. But thank you that there was a capitalistic system that the Apostle Paul could go make tents, and that's what he did. He was a tent maker, and then would turn around and sell it and use the money to fund his own ministry. So, yes, capitalism is biblical.
Karen, I don't know how to say that, but Karen, it says, if you can't see Trump's corruption, I'm leaving for good. Hypocrites. Well, I would ask you that if you see Trump's corruption, and I'm not saying he's not, I don't know. Just provide evidence. That's what this episode is about. How do you know? How do you know? Not how do you judge, not how do you look at somebody and speculate that they're good, bad, or indifferent, whatever it is, but how do you know? How do you gather your information? How do you prove it? What's the truth? What evidence do you have to support it? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to make a statement, if you're going to say something like that, back it up.
Yeah.
Like, just back it up.
Sure. Enlighten us.
So for curiosity's sake, and I posted this on my personal Facebook this morning, I watch everybody say all this stuff about Trump's in the Epstein files, Trump's a pedophile, Trump's this, Trump's that, whatever. So I thought to myself, well, I don't want to live in ignorance. What if he is? What if all this stuff it really includes him and he really is guilty of all that they said he is? Mm-hmm. So I looked at a source. I went on ChatGPT, and I actually used Claude, ChatGPT, and a couple of others just for experimental purposes. And I put in the prompt to provide evidence, show me the truth, with factual evidence to back it up, about how Trump is implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein sex scandal, the child sex scandal. And I just left it, I put it in agent mode where it would do the heaviest research. Mm-hmm. And it sat there for 10 minutes researching. And I posted this already this morning. I said, show me the truth. And it came back with an amazing statement. And it said, there is absolutely no evidence to support that he is implicated with evidence and truth.
Wow.
As being guilty of participating in deviant sexual behavior or illegal activity with Jeffrey Epstein. That was crazy to me because I expected it to say something else.
Right.
I expected, because ChatGPT is owned by OpenAI, which is a liberal resource, and I expected it to come up with something else, but it didn't. It didn't. And see, Johnny Junk Finder, yeah, there's pictures of all kinds of stuff. If I had a picture of you, I could put you in those pictures. That's the bad thing about all this. That's why the question is, where do you get your stuff and how do you know?
Right.
And let's see. JT says, wow, that is your research. No, it's not my only research. It's just what I did this morning for an experiment. I'm curious. So, like, part of the premise of this show is, if you've got something else that is evidence, that's proof to the contrary, mm-hmm. please provide it.
Yeah.
We would love to learn more about it. I do realize that ChatGPT itself is not updated in real time. ChatGPT's database, last I checked, was over a year old. However, it does operate on real-time searches. When it does research for you, when you put it in agent mode, it actually does live updates on hand. It's not just looking into its own database. I do know that. Let's see. And Lola Chiam says, why are they not releasing the majority of the file? That's an excellent question. I don't have the answer to that.
I don't know.
And what's fascinating about this is that the question that comes to mind when you ask that with me is, those files have been in the hands of our government for 2 previous administrations. Mm-hmm. What year was it that all this started?
It would be back in the teens.
So
yeah,
I'm going to ask a crazy question. Was it during Obama's time?
I believe it may have started then.
So
I think
if this has been going on for 3 presidents,
yeah,
How come neither side has released it?
Right.
Neither side. Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
that.
Why do you think they haven't?
And it also generates another question in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Who all's really involved in this that's needing to be protected, or who all's being leveraged with this information?
Right.
And that's what really makes me curious.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, so many, not all of you, don't
Right.
get me wrong, but so many people are focused on President Trump and making him the focus of their passion.
Yeah.
But what if there's a bigger evil that's being protected? What if it's not about Trump at all?
Mm.
And we don't know it because so many of us are just focused on one guy.
Right.
And then what are they really hiding? Like, what's the
Right.
truth behind this?
Right.
Like, my curiosity is piqued about this.
Yes. And, it just to give you kind of a parallel example, when Mr. Musk put his team together and they were looking into some of the wasteful spending, Doge, by common knowledge. And when a lot of these folks hit the lists and they were highlighted, many of them, like a large majority, evidently lawyered up and filed lawsuits to stop basically their money from being taken away. So I can only presume if someone did go to the island and they did behave inappropriately and they did have a lot of money, why would they also not lawyer up to stop the release? So maybe that's a possibility. And that's just a speculation, just based on how people with resources spend their money to protect themselves.
Hey, Deputy Dreamer. He says, can't wait to have a good interview tomorrow. We're looking forward to it too. That's our interview for tomorrow. Looking forward to it. We're going to have a good time. Thanks for joining the show. If you have any input for this topic, we're talking about how do you know? How do you find truth? How do you find your news? What is it that sways your position? Like, I want to ask you guys a crazy question since you guys are so involved and passionate about things. What do you do when you find out that there's evidence to support the opposite of what you thought? What do you do then? Like, for those of you out there who straight up and down claim that Trump's a pedophile and that he's been doing all this stuff, part of the Epstein thing, what if it does come out that he's not? What if that's proven unequivocally? Then what are you going to do?
Right.
When you've put so much of your passion into this, how will you go the other way?
Right.
I'm just curious. And then like, I can tell you this. If I find out, if I find truthful evidence to support that Trump actually is a pedophile, I'll have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I got no problem admitting that. And I've even challenged everyone on my social media that if you can produce evidence that actually provides support to that truth or that being true, I'll share it. I'll share it from the mountaintops. I'll make sure that at least 40 or 50 million people see it on my page.
Right. Not opinion.
Yeah.
Evidence.
I just want evidence.
That's right. And and by the same token, if I flip that coin, Rob, what are you prepared to do if you find out that someone that you maybe have supported, maybe you voted for them for some higher office in the land or something along those lines, and you find out that they were involved with things that you would never do from a moral standpoint? What are you prepared to do? I mean, is it a shoulder shrug? Well, or are you going to be a little more proactive?
So let's change the question a little bit.
Okay.
Let's go devil's advocate here. Let's say you find out, any of you out there listening to this, including me and Chuck, let's say we find out that Donald Trump was the ringleader, that it was all him, right? What do we do then? What do we, the people, do if we find out that our commander-in-chief or a past commander-in-chief is part of one of the biggest child sex scandals in world history? What if we find that out? What are we going to do? That's a funny one. I've never seen that one before. Thank you, Charming says, you got too much makeup on. I have zero makeup on. I've never worn makeup in my life, but that's funny.
Oh, man, I got it all over me, but thanks for asking.
And then let's see. Lola Chiam says, why did Trump hire the person that gave Epstein the sweetheart deal to be on his cabinet? I don't know. I didn't know that. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
And then Classy 476 says, we vote to get rid of him. Well, in truth, I don't believe if we find out that Trump's guilty, if he truly is, voting's not enough.
Right.
That's not enough. We can't wait on a vote. If we find evidence to say that, you know, our president's actually guilty of this, we as a nation cannot afford to have that as our representation at the highest office in the world.
Right.
That's not okay. Right. Yes. So Rosie Girl says arrest him. Yes, that would be a first step, and then a public trial. And then if we found that out, I mean, I honestly believe execution's about the only answer. Now, I'm saying all that out here, so you understand that's my position. I do support Donald Trump currently. I don't believe he's guilty, but if I find out that he is, there will be no support left.
That's right. And
my support will go completely in the other direction. So let's see. But we need evidence. Johnny the Junk Finder says, I'm wearing blinders. I'm not. I'm actually wanting to know the truth. Classy says, common sense. If he was guilty of anything, they would have put that out this term. I think they would have put it out last term. I think when Otto Penn was president, I think they would have happily released that so that they could have anointed Kamala and put her in office.
Right.
Because that was their direction. That's what they wanted in the first place. Johnny, you didn't give me any evidence. Edward Hansen says, or till you're caught. I'm not sure what you're referencing to. Choo Choo says, okay, you are a Christian nationalist. You just answered my question. Thank you. I'm not sure what you mean. Cranky Yankee says, I'm a Trump supporter, but if I learned that it was true, I'd support his perk walk. See? Same thing.
Yes.
I'm right there with you.
Yes.
And
we would have to, because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my moral compass. I am responsible for the salvation that I believe to come. And so if I'm supporting somebody that I now have this terrible knowledge of, that's on me.
So let's see. What evidence will it take for you to believe? Unredacted files? Johnny Jungfinder said the Howard Stern show. Yeah, that's not real. Howard Stern's a shock jock, and I mean that's common knowledge. Yeah. It's his job to get people riled up. That's how he gets views or listeners. Yeah, Classy says, do you know what proof is? And that's a question I ask. And let's see, how can we get evidence without releasing all the files? That's a great question. And see, that makes me even more curious. Like, what is in those files?
Right.
Like, we can only guess because we don't know what is in those files.
Right.
Like, it's crazy. And even the stuff we're getting, I hate this word, but it's redacted. Like, it's got all kinds of black marks all over it or blank spots in it. It's cut off. So we don't know. And so the question is, how do you get your truth? How do you learn? How do you develop these convictions? So many of you are so passionate, and I respect it.
Yeah.
I actually really appreciate people who are passionate about what they believe, willing to stand up for what they believe, and put themselves out there. And a lot of you guys, let's see. We've got somebody who wants to come on, so I'm going to see. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Let's see. Can you hear me? There you are.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Do what? You put in the request to join the show. Can you hear us, Assad? All right. I don't know what's happening, but that was not intentional.
No, we're not able to hear you. Sorry.
Well, we lost that. So we had a little technical difficulty. We'll get it back on here in a second.
Yeah.
Bear with us.
All right.
And we're back. I apologize. We had someone requested to join the show, and then I don't think they could speak English, and they had some kind of technical problem where they couldn't hear us, I suppose. But anyway, we're back now. But we came back basically to sign off. But we appreciate you guys, all of your involvement today. It's been a great show.
Thank you.
We really appreciate the passion of the audience, all the things that came up. Great stuff. You guys have great perspectives, and we want to learn from you. If you're a part of our audience and you find something out there that you deem worthy to share with us, please never hesitate to bring forth truth.
Right.
Always, even if you feel low confidence or whatever it may be, bring it forward, test it, see what is of value in it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know for what you may hold the key to solving a problem that everybody's working with.
Absolutely.
So,
and we do believe in the power of collective energy. We work as a mastermind. We have friends that we reach out to, we talk to. And so maybe this platform may come to help us all come to some better conclusions. And it's a pleasure to get to bring it. And thank you for participating and bringing your passions and also, your understandings and your questions. That's what we do. We try to question everything so that we can come up with better answers tomorrow.
You guys were great contributors today. Y'all are always a great audience. Thank you for the privilege of allowing us to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. I'm Rob.
I'm Bald Santa Claus.
Bald.
I'm Chuck.
And we look forward to talking to you guys next Tuesday at 10 o'clock for our live show next week. Sorry we got cut off there at the end of our show. We had somebody who tried to come in on live and it didn't work out. Not sure what the problem was, but anytime you guys want to come on live and join us and be a co-host or be part of the show, you're always more than welcome. You're always invited. But thank you guys. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you next week right here. Same time, same place. We'll talk soon.